Home, home, home on the range. Do you feel like home when you come and you sit next to the people that you love and your friends and the family? You feel like it's home, and it really matters less. The music, the talk, the meditation, all that stuff is icing on the cake to being home amongst people that you know you can rely on, that you're one phone call away in your darkest hour from being home with somebody who will rush to your side and make you, lift you up, build you up. That's what that song is all about. Knowing that we belong to each other in a great tapestry of love, of spiritual cooperation. We have chaplains on duty that are absolutely holding that for each and every one of you. So thank you to Amy, to Vilma, to Brian, and to Virginia for creating a sense of home. They're holding you and wrapping each and every one of you in a blanket of home. I hope you can feel it. And at any point you get bored with what I have to say today, just tap into them and you'll be home all over once again. Yes? I thought it would be fun to have a little bit of humor to start the service off today. So here are some things that I have learned from my kids. Garbage bags do not make good parachutes. A 3-year-old is far louder than 200 adults in a crowded restaurant. If you hook a dog leash over a ceiling fan, the motor is not strong enough to rotate a 42-pound boy wearing Batman underwear and a Superman cape. It is, however, strong enough to spread paint all over 4 walls in a very large room. And when you hear the toilet flush and the words "uh-oh" at the same time, it's too late. But I'm an equal opportunist here, so let's have some fun at the older people's expense. You know you're old when you've been there and you've done that, but you can't remember what that was. You know you're old when the only place you hear your favorite song is on an elevator. You know you're old when you're told to slow down by the doctor and not by the police officer. And you know you're old when you can remember when the Dead Sea was just sick. Wah, wah. I should have ended on a high note. It didn't do it. This is the 4th and final talk in a series that throughout the last month about the Taijitu symbol. And then those of you who have been here know that the Taijitu symbol is better known as the yin-yang symbol, the symbol of Taoism. Although that symbol far outdates, it goes back thousands of years before Taoism. It's an ancient Chinese symbol that's all about balance, about equanimity, about harmony and cooperation. Yes? It's all about the middle way. Several times in the service today, I'm going to invite you to bring all the teachings from the past month into your care and awareness that when you're out there dealing with stuff, you can do this. Put your hand on your heart. And I want you to say after me, I choose the middle way. Good. You're going to get tired of saying that by the time I get done. But maybe it will be an integrated practice that when all hell is breaking loose and somebody's showing up in your field that's really driving you nuts, you can pause, remember this face, these people, and go home. I choose the middle way. We are about to enter into the next year another political opportunity. Can you feel the tension on the planet? Can you feel it I can feel it. And the last 2 times we didn't do so well. I'm hoping that this time that I have the capability and you have the capability to walk a middle road and find peace and create harmony and create love where there might be discord, where there might be disagreement. Is peace more powerful than disagreement? I choose the middle way. The answer is an emphatic yes, it must be. Is love the most powerful force on the planet? It must be. And I am the conduit. You are the conduit. We are the conduit for love's presence on earth, no matter what's going on. And we'll find it by being in balance. In week 1, we talked about the balance and the harmony between work and play. How many of you did your homework and maybe did your work life a little bit different? See me after class. Work and rest, work and play in balance as partners and in harmony for the most well-rounded life of heaven on earth. In week 2, we went and had a little more intellectual dialogue in the deep end of form and formless, recognizing that we are fully human and fully divine at the same time. And as the master teacher said, we are in the world, but we're not defined by the world. I'm having a human experience, and I'm having a spiritual experience, and both are necessary for my growth and my evolution. A partnership. In week 3, this was just last week, and some of you kind of had this look on your face when I was doing this. We were talking about everything and nothing. And we spent some time realizing that to some people, you are everything, and to some people, you are nothing. And that there'll be moments in your life when you feel like everything, connected to the divine, to God, the place of oneness that we talk about, and times where you feel like, where is God here? And you feel like nothing. And both are important lessons. Again, back to the human and divine, all coming together to help us evolve, to help us become, to help us realize who we are, who we've always been, and to get back home. Home. By choosing the middle way. Hand on your heart. I choose the middle way. Together. That's the place of being. It's the place of samadhi, as they say in Eastern traditions. The Father and I are one. The Mother and I are one. Everybody in the room and I are one. The person who disagrees with me politically and I are one. The person who disagrees with me religiously and I are one. I'm one. I do not make exceptions to where I find the face of God. Turn to somebody your left and right and say, I do not make exceptions to where I find the face of God. Today, we are going to honor our kids on an adventure to the land of Oz, a great adventure of exploration, and so the final bow on the package of Taoism and of yin and yang and the Taijitu symbol is we're talking about adult and child. Adult and child, which includes the ideas of teacher and student, or responsibility and adventuresome. So, show of hands, how many adults do we have in the room? Good, you guys are much quicker than the first service. Richard Coker, put your hand down. Yes, it should be up. How many children do we have in the room? At any given moment, both those capacities are necessary and needed for there to be a balanced system. We must be a teacher and a student. We must be an adult, and we must never lose that ability to be creative, to be spontaneous, to be fun, to be in a sense of awe and wonder. But we must be in balance. We must be recognizing that we are both the adult and the child in any given circumstance. Anybody ever been in the church with only adult people? I've been in those churches. They suck the life out of the room. All these adults controlling everything, having a corner on the market of truth and telling everybody else you have to believe the way I teach. We don't do that here. But I've been in those churches and I want to run out the back door away from them because there's no room for creativity. There's no room for spontaneity. There's no room for growth. But I've also been in those churches that were run by people that looked like they never left middle school. Everything was drama. And everything that went wrong was the end of the world. And there was a need to have a little bit more spiritual responsibility in the room because mass chaos, I also went running from those churches and those organizations and places because it was just absolutely mass chaos. Now, does any of this have anything to do with the chronological age that you are? Absolutely nothing to do. Some of the wisest people on the planet that I've ever talked to were 3 years old. Or 13 years old. And the ones that blew my mind, the 13-year-old girls, they know every button I own. They know how to teach me, and I've learned a great deal of wisdom from 13-year-old girls who blew my mind wide open. But I had to be willing and receptive and be teachable for that to happen. I've also sat at the feet of a 100-year-old. How many people remember Harry Cohn? I'm going to bring him in as an example. Wise, childlike man who blew my mind wide open. Both the 3-year-old and the 100-year-old had a capacity to find the middle way, the middle understanding, the place of balance. How many of you have been doing the balance I had you do? We're perpetually in a state of wanting to balance, and that creates the need for consciousness. I have to be aware. You act too childlike, you're out of balance, you're going to fall. The church is too adult and too serious. We're going to fall the other direction. There must be balance. On your hand, on your heart, I choose the middle way together. Now, in New Thought, we're really proud of our very open spirituality. We love that. We're not as narrow as other places. It's a free-thinking environment, yes? You are encouraged to think the way you think and to bring your unique relationship with the divine into the room and share it, and that's a blessing, yes? Are you open that it can also be a curse if we are not conscious? If we are not balanced? If we are not awake and paying attention, it can also be a curse. It's a free spirituality that can create out-of-control people. You mean no matter how I behave, I'm a beloved child of God? I am the light of the world no matter what I say or how rude I am, no matter how much duality I create in the environment because you didn't vote the way I voted, that I'm still a beloved child of God. Yes, love me, love me, love me in my rudeness. That happens in New Thought environments. I've been in those environments. I used to sing that song, I love myself the way I am, there's nothing I need to change. Well, I don't sing that anymore. You got to bring the human, the formed, into the formless reality. When we talk about the perfection and the light of the world that you are, it is a spiritual reality. And the human must meet the spiritual reality or you're not in a place of balance. You're going to be going crazy. And you're run by your organization, your church, by a bunch of middle school mindsets where everything is drama, everything is chaos, and everything is falling apart. Ever been there? New Thought creates that kind of environment if you're not awake. But on the other side, the other polar position, ever known anybody in New Thought? They read a book. I read a book. I went to a workshop. I took a class. I heard it once in a service. Now I am the guru. You integrate it into your life, and we're told we are a magnificent expression of God, and then we go around the planet saying, I am the teacher of teachers. Spiritual arrogance is the polar opposite of the chaos that can be created with you can do anything you want. Spiritual arrogance also appears in New Thought churches. You read a book, now suddenly you're a guru? No. You read a book or you went to a workshop and suddenly you're a shaman? Well, personally, from my earth-based tradition, to claim that you're a shaman after one class is blasphemy. To claim that you're a shaman because you read a book is spiritual arrogance. And it's a system that's out of balance with an adult mindset that I have a corner on the market of truth. We can go down the street if you want to have a corner on the market of truth. They'll tell you, this is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God, now believe me, and regurgitate it. We don't necessarily do that here because your truth is equally important as my truth. The truth of the YOU is just as important as the minister who gets to lead this church. The person coming into this building for the first time, Anthony's here for the first time. His wisdom is essential to our learning experience. And he brings an understanding of the divine that's equally important as mine. They just pay me to be the one up here with the microphone on my face. Feel that. Sense that. Know that. Nobody, greater than and less than, is the cause of all suffering on the planet. The greater teacher, the lesser teacher. The better teacher, the worse teacher. That is the cause of all suffering. Every one of us has a piece in the puzzle that is making our way home, making our way back home to the presence within us, to the presence in everybody. The new person, the 14-year-old, the 61-year-old, the 100-year-old. Yes? Gurus, G, you are you. G, you are you. And I worship at the feet of your wisdom and your experience, human, divine, and everything in between. There must be a call for balance. We must be teachable teachers. Say that with me. We must be teachable teachers. We must also be mature children of God who take responsibility for ourselves. Yes? Otherwise, we create spiritual arrogance or chaos. Ours is to demonstrate the delicate balance of knowing when to be the adult, when to be the responsible one, when to be the student, the child, the adventuresome one, the middle way. Rumi, the great Sufi poet and mystic, had a wonderful teaching about this that brings this home. And so I want to go to Rumi here and tell a little story. A religious scholar once embarked on a boat, a long trip across the ocean. Turning to the boatman with a well-satisfied air, a self-satisfied air, he asked, "Have you ever studied religious doctrine?" "No," replied the boatman. "Well, then half of your life has gone to waste," the learned man replied. The boatman felt sad. He felt rejected. He felt dejected and did not answer any further. Later on the trip across the ocean, the wind began to toss the boat to and fro and pulled it into a tumultuous whirlpool. And the boatman shouted across the bow to the religious scholar, "Do you know how to swim?" "No," he replied. "In that case," the boatman remarked, "the whole of your life has gone to waste because this boat is about to sink." Rumi challenged intellectual and spiritual arrogance. He challenged the adults of his time, and he called them out when they were so full of themselves that there was no more room to grow or to become. There's a lot of spiritual people on the planet today, religious people, that are sinking in the ocean because they've been thrown into the deep end of current times, of current culture, and they're trying to paddle across the ocean with old thoughts that need to be released, old ideas that need to be released, and they're sinking to the bottom of the ocean, holding fast to old dog tricks, and there's new tricks needed. I'm telling you today and challenging you to go to sit at the feet of the guru that is a 15-year-old. Damian Rosales is a member of our YOU. Let me tell you, I want to go sit at his feet and I want to learn, because what he's saying doesn't necessarily always resonate with my old dog attitude or my old dog mind, but it makes sense. And unless I can suspend who I have been so that I can become, I'm never going to grow. And so I will go sit at the feet of a teenager, go spend some time with the YOU and realize they have a lot more on the ball than many of us have told them that they've got. Richard Coker, you can put your hand up again. On the other hand, there's a whole lot of people coming onto the planet today that have all these great, grand, new ideas, new dogs coming into the playground. They have not taken any time whatsoever to spend time with the experience of antiquity, the ancient wisdom. You see, so many people, I'm not saying throw the Bible out, throw the Quran out, throw the Tao Te Ching out. I'm saying study it and then bring new ideas to it, new eyes, fresh ears, beginner's mind. That's what we are called to do, to take the ancient wisdom and to have new ideas about it, and then find the sense of balance. I am adult, I am a child, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, all at the same time. So go sit at the feet of an elder, the guru that is an elder, and suspend your judgment of their old ways before you pass judgment. There might be something to gain there. I get to spend time with Ted and Pat Worrell every Friday. They are my elders, not by much. I won't give away their age. And the reality is we're laughing and we're joking, we're laughing and we're joking, and then one of them says something and it was like, I need to listen. I get to sit at the elders of Joel and Mary Ann Blackford. They are my elders, about the same age as Ted and Pat. And when I suspend my judgment, well, that's just old ideas. I sit at the feet of wise sages and masters. Jesus wasn't the only one to walk the face of the planet that could change the face of the planet. It looks like Ted and Pat Worrell. It looks like Joel and Mary Ann Blackford. Go sit at the feet of a guru that maybe has a few, what was the word we used the other day? They are a little seasoned. They have value too. I must channel my teacher and my student all in one and be teachable with the 15-year-old, the 12-year-old, the 3-year-old, the 100-year-old, or those whose names and ages I will not convey here today. This is an important teaching. The Tao Te Ching says this, read it with me. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. We've all heard that, right? An external teaching, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. But there's more to that than we have actually repeated. The second part of this is when the student is truly ready, the teacher will disappear. Oh, I've got to let go. I've got to release. I've got to give up. Enlightenment. Meister Eckhart said that enlightenment is not a process of addition, but it's a process of subtraction. And the Buddha said, if you meet the Buddha on the road, slay him. Attachment, non-attachment. Things have to be let go of. So, when you are a student, are thirsty and hungry and sponge-like, the people that will teach you will show up in your environment, and most of us are missing it because we think it has to look a certain way. And if you're doing this and the universe is providing you a 15-year-old or a 100-year-old or somebody that doesn't think the way you think, you've narrowed the way God can teach you. You're no longer teachable. And if you're not teachable, you are dying on the planet, and you're part of the evolution, the devolution of humanity. That's a bunch of old dogs walking around not willing to learn new tricks. Now, this has been used as an external teaching. The teacher is out here, right? The teacher comes, the teacher goes. That's good. What if this is an internal instruction? What if we internalized it, made it personal, took it personally? But we're going to look at this as an instruction, one that gives us a personal compass, a personal thermometer to let us know when the adult is needed and when the child is needed, known as Richard. One's taking a step back so the other can come forward. When was the last time you played? When was the last time you laughed? When was the last time you let go of your entrenched spirituality and just enjoyed life and looked out at the trees and said, isn't life grand? Let's go dance and play and splash in puddles. I wanted to go down here with the kids today, and I wanted to just write. That meant, okay, I'm still in balance, my kid is there, but I've got a job to do. But I never want to be so serious up here that I can't sit down and color with a kid as well. And some of the wisdom I get from Joel and Mary Ann Blackford is they are kids at heart. They're out bicycling, paddling, dancing in the rain, dancing in the sun every time they get a chance. I want to be like them when I grow up. I also want to be like Damien Rosales when I grow up. I think he's 14. Is Damien here? Not here today? 14 or 15. Sometimes Damien is the adult, and I want to tell him, loosen up a little bit, Damien. Relax a little bit, have some fun, and enjoy life. It's all about the inner thermostat that tells me what is needed at any given moment. Where am I out of balance? Developing a sensitivity to my environment where I'm in touch with the internal guidance, the middle way. What was the words between I am nothing and I am everything? Last week we said it is the I am. I am. And what does I am require of me if I'm with a 3-year-old or a 100-year-old? Listening. Put your hand on your heart. I choose the middle way. I choose to listen. I am. Is it possible to be conscious and curious all at the same time? It's necessary. It's not only possible, it's absolutely necessary. Is it possible to be diving into a theological discourse, a political discourse, and still be splashing in the metaphorical puddles while you're doing it? If you can't do it, then you're about to repeat what we have done the last 8 years and create duality and fight on a political scene. And if you think we are immune, we are so much more spiritually enlightened, the fights were happening in Holy Grounds Cafe. I was asked what my next class to teach, and the programs committee clearly said to me, I think we would like to have a class on conflict resolution. There's an undercurrent happening. Here we go, folks. We're going to get on the roller coaster again. I don't think it was an accident that they wanted something about the difference between fight and flight, the I am, the listening, to being present to each other, the teachers that will show up with different thoughts and different ideas. I must be present as a child with open mind and open ears and open heart, and I must also stand true to the principles that I know. Is that possible? If it's not possible, our nation won't be here. Our earth won't be here. We've got to find the middle way and listen to each other. The Bible, I haven't talked too much about the Bible over these 4 weeks. I've talked more about Taoism. But I want to go to the Bible and put a bow on this series. There's a couple of teachings in the Bible that really can confound the mind, but also can bring home exactly what I'm talking about. The first one is from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 18. Let's put the scripture up there. Let's read it together. We must become like a child to enter the kingdom of heaven. This is Jesus. our way shower, our elder brother, our master teacher. What he's saying is any given moment, ours is to be sponge-like, teachable, humble, vulnerable, and open. An old dog that at the very least is open to new tricks. Rusty Morgan is sitting right there. He is an old dog, and man, that guy knows new tricks. And he's open as any man I know to new tricks and new ideas. This is what Jesus was talking about. Open to new paradigms, to new ideas, to new ways. On the other hand, Paul writes, who carried Jesus' teaching to the next level in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 together, when I was a child, I used to talk as a child, think as a child, reason as a child. When I became a man, I put aside childish things. Ours is also to grow spiritually, to grow up spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and in every other way. You see, there's a really big difference between childlike and childish. So who was right here, Jesus or Paul? Survey says who was right? Both. Balance and harmony. I must be like a child, but I must put away childish things, whether I am 3 or I am 100. Again, my examples, Harry Cohn and Damian Rosales, absolutely balanced people. I want to follow their example. I want to make them my guru. Let us not become so spiritually arrogant as a New Thought movement to say our religion is better than your religion. My political bent is better than your political bent. We have disproven everything that we teach from this platform. Unity. Can there be diversity in unity? If we can't do that, then why are we here? If we can't prove that there can be diversity and unity in the same sphere at the same time, what are we doing here? I don't want to ever get to the point where I become so spiritually arrogant that I cannot find wisdom in the Wizard of Oz. That I cannot look at a children's movie and find the great metaphor. I also don't want to become so arrogant that I can't read the Bible and realize it was written for a certain people at a certain time. And it was metaphor, it was parable, and that there's a greater lesson to be learned here. We brag a lot in New Thought that we interpret the Bible metaphysically, not literally. That is a transformation. But I'm saying I want to make the transformation from literal to metaphysical to myutical. Interpret the Bible myutically. What does that mean? How are those people alive in me today? How is Paul alive into me? Judas, Jesus, Peter. Oh, I love Peter. He lives inside of me, and he and I dance in the puddles a lot and screw up and make mistakes. Myutic, and that's what the younger generations are coming in, is get rid of your metaphysical interpretation because it's subjective. How about you just listen to a new idea about the Quran, the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao Te Ching, whatever it is. We must be willing to listen at the feet of people who are interpreting old ideas in new ways. Yes? As I teach and I lead conversations in this, and I'm so incredibly blessed to lead conversations here, rapping with the Rev is my favorite thing I get to do. And I always tell the people on Wednesday night, don't tell the people on Sunday, but I really enjoy rapping with the Rev more. Because here, you got one opinion. I'm sharing one opinion, and that's okay. That's the way you do church. But I rapping with the Rev is a collection of older people and younger people, all offering their ideas into the beautiful soup that is the collective wisdom that is needed for the planet today. And the wisdom, the greatest wisdom I hear in the room on Wednesday nights is very rarely from my mouth. I want you to hear that. I get to be an adult facilitator with a childlike mind that welcomes new ideas and thrills at the good that's coming out of the mouths, the hearts, the spirits, the minds, and the souls of 50 other people. That's what the world needs right now. You know, I'll be honest with you, as a minister, I'm trying to figure out how to make this less monologue-like. So I will ask you to call something out, is to try and get a conversation going, because that's what the young pups are bringing into the planet. Quit talking at me, talk with me. So I want to hear a word of wisdom, a sentence, something that you've learned in the last 2 weeks. I want you to call it out, put your hand up, I'll call on you to call your wisdom into the room right now. Don't be shy. Come on. Go with the flow. What else? I am. The middle way. That's good. These are all good things because I've taught them to you. How about something you have never heard from this platform that you've learned that's important and valuable for the rest of the old dogs and new dogs to hear? Allow meddling. Don't judge. Batteries, negative, positive charge, come together. This is the middle way. This is the balance. This is equanimity. And then you have life. If I say that you're negative and I'm positive, you're not needed, guess what? We're both dying. Who had their hand up over here? Yvonne. Oh, there's a lifetime course. Learn to forgive. Replace judgment with curiosity. What else? Learn from discomfort. Oh, get ready if you want to pray that, pray. Kristen. I love that. Don't die with your music inside you. Go dance in the puddle. Go play. Be goofy. Be silly. Fall on your face. Make a mistake and get back up and do it all over again. Yes. Oh, your thought, your energy, your belief, your feelings are contributing to the collective. Careful what you're thinking, because you're either healing the world or you're taking the world down the rabbit hole. Over here, Eric. Speak your mind and listen to all others. I want you, that's beautiful. I want you all to join me in figuring out how to make this Sunday morning service less a monologue. I don't know how yet. And to make it more of a cohesive dialogue where old dogs and new pups and new ideas and new paradigms are in the environment, just not the one from the 61-year-old. I don't know how to do that. If you got an idea, please come see me, because that's my intention for the next year. Yes, Julie. Man, you're okay, become comfortable with not knowing everything. I have no problem with that because I know absolutely nothing. I got more hands up, yes. Say that a little bit louder. Oh, you've been spying on me? Your ego can be the biggest block to your growth. Who else? More of the teenagers over there. No? Okay. Cherry. We create our reality. Charles Fillmore taught that, and so does Sherry Farmer. John. If the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. I'm going to go dangerous here and say alternative facts. That dialogue is going to come up again, folks. Let's be ready. I choose the middle way. I choose the way of peace, of joy, of harmony, and love. One more hand. Nope. Is that it? We're all in, we're all done? Yes. Embrace lifelong learning. Michelangelo said, I believe at the age of 92, I'm still learning. Charles Fillmore said this quote. Let's put that Charles Fillmore quote up. I'm going out of order here. This is all just impromptu here. Do we have that last quote? Yeah, let's read this together. I fairly sizzle with zeal, energy, and enthusiasm, eager to do that which ought to be done by me today. He was 93 years old when he said that. I'm still growing, I'm still dancing in the puddles, I'm still becoming. The time has got to stop, and I want to lead the way in this community. A lot of religious circles, New Thought included, are holding an unconscious belief, my God can beat up your God. And we laugh about that, but that's exactly what we hold. Or my spirituality, my education is better than yours. I have more years on me, I'm more seasoned, Pat. Therefore, I am smarter than you. My wisdom trumps your wisdom. If that's ever coming into your head, not just out your mouth, if it's coming into your head, you're a part of the collective dying of the planet, and it's time to change it. What if we were simply to realize that every one of us, look around the room, every single one of us, and to look to the churches that are to our left or right, that way, and say every one of us has a perspective, profound or simple, we agree with or we don't agree with, that's needed for the collective wisdom on the planet today. Turn to your left and your right and say, I need your wisdom. And then turn back again and say, and I am willing to listen. How many parents in the room who've ever had your kids come out, or grandparents, your kids come out with something that just blows your mind? It's like, where'd that come from? Well, the parents who go are the ones that are willing to listen. Yours to be seen and not heard has been an old paradigm that needs to die. I want to see our kids on this platform, and I want to hear from them. You know, still to this day, including my messages, the best message I ever heard from this platform was delivered by one of our graduates in the YOU program. I carry Christy Vera with me everywhere I go, and what she had to say from this platform. It's better than anything I could ever come up with. Out of the mouths of babes will come evolution. Out of the mouths of babes will come growth and enlightenment. And then there's those of us with parents. All right, get the younger people in the room. You ever say something or experience something or feel something that you realize in the moment, that's something my father said. That's something my mother said. And we don't want to admit it. I remember the moment I first heard that Michael Byers song, Help, I'm turning into my parents. And the reality is that's okay. Sometimes things are going to catch you by surprise. That means a gift has been given to you. It's okay to carry it forward. Listen to the adults, listen to the elders, and listen to the youth. And somehow we're all going to make it home together. Yes? I want to make it home, and I'm tired of fighting each other. Nobody's getting home because I'm right, you're wrong, you're right, I'm wrong, isn't getting us anywhere. And this next year is going to be the great test. I hate to say it. I'm ready for the test, and I want to rise to the occasion. And I want a year from now, regardless of who wins what election, that we are closer together as a family. That we are closer together as spiritual beings having a human experience. It does not mean that we have to agree, but it means that we have collectively been able to find and choose the middle way. Here are your rules of life. I'm going to invite the band to come back up. Some rules of life that I've adapted for the talk today. Number one, you're going to receive a body, and it's going to age. Now, Aileen may argue with me there. You're going to receive a body. You're not meant to be here forever. You're going to get a body, and you're going to age. Number two, you're going to learn lessons. Anybody recognize that? That's part of the earth school. Number three, there are no mistakes. There are only lessons. Number four, a lesson is repeated until it is learned. I've seen many a lesson lived 5 minutes before somebody transcended to the next paradigm. Number five, learning lessons does not end. Be a teachable teacher. Number six, when it comes to the adult-child relationship, there is no better than here, and here is no better than there. We belong to each other, and we're walking each other home. Number seven, your children and your parents are merely mirrors for you. Look deeply. Listen, and listen deeply. Number eight, what you make of your life is up to you. Number nine, your answers will lie inside of you based on your reactions. And number 10, you're going to forget all of this. You're going to forget. The older people are like, yeah. How many of you older people go to the refrigerator and you open up the door and you forgot what it was you came for? You're going to forget all of this, and you're going to have to be reminded. And you're going to have to learn it again. Keep listening, because the new paradigm is coming through the 3-year-old, the 13-year-old, and the 100-year-old. Music is good. That was nice to have you play. I wish everywhere I could go, I'd just go like this. Is that God or is it Tom Olson? And the answer would be yes. Is that God or is that Damian Rosales? Yes. Is that God or is that Pat Worrell? Yes. Is that God or is that Marianne Blackford? Yes. We've used paradox throughout this series to find that place of balance. Here's a few to end and put a bow on our series. Jesus said, the first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. Jesus lived the middle way. Together with your hand on your heart, I choose the middle way. Take the back seat sometimes. Take the front seat sometimes. But for God's sake, be on the bus, no matter where you're sitting. Lao Tzu, the founder of the Taoist religion, said a leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim fulfilled, they will say, we did it ourselves. Lao Tzu lived the middle way. Together, I choose the middle way. And those of us parents and teachers and ministers, I would put it this way, a parent is best when their work is done and the children say, look what we did. Look what we did. An anonymous quote that I found, I really looked for the source because I love this. Maturity does not always come with age. In fact, it's deeper than age. It's about the way you see people and you understand things, the way you consider others, and the way you communicate, the way that you react and you treat people, and the things that you value, the things that you entertain, the way you represent yourself and others as an adult, regardless of your age. Everyone grows old, but not everyone is growing up. I want to follow the examples of Charles Fillmore, and I want to fairly sizzle with zeal, and I want to play in the puddle. I want to follow the example of Jesus and Lao Tzu, who found somehow in the midst of very political times to be equally as grounded and centered, knowing that I am listening and I am nothing and everything. Formed, human, formless, spiritual, and divine, all at the same time. And so are you. And as we're going to walk each other home, we're going to go into meditation now. We're walking each other home. That was the theme of the day, and there's one more song coming. We're doing it hand in hand. We're walking each other across the street, and sometimes the adult will hold the child's hand, and sometimes you'll be the child holding somebody's hand, and it has nothing to do with chronological age. We're walking each other across the street. We're sailing each other across the ocean, and we're going to help each other swim. That's how you build a house that is strong on rock and not on stone.